All right, let's go back now to our top story and bring in a clinical psychologist, Dr. Keitumetse Mashego. Of course, this follows that case that we spoke about earlier on in Umzinto, where the community there is still reeling in shock following the murder of a 25-year-old Nontobeko Cele. Thank you so much for your time this afternoon. Of course, we are talking about that video that went viral on social media where Sibusiso Ntaka confessed in the video of murdering his fiancée, we understand from his family. I mean, this crime has raised so many concerns, especially how women continue to be devalued and continue to be murdered on a daily basis in this country. How can society do better in creating safer spaces for women and especially marginalized individuals like women and children?
It's really sad what is happening because it's really a reflection of how deeply wounded society is, where life just means nothing, because of someone's trauma. I mean, when people are abusive or they do commit such crimes, it's usually because they're projecting their own pains or their own traumas onto the next person. And of course, it's not to excuse their behavior. There is no excuse for someone who's abusive or who ends up killing someone else or taking someone's life. So we really need to be aware that people are carrying so much in their subconscious that they have dissociated from, experiencing emotions, experiencing remorse or valuing life and act with other people. They're not isolated somewhere. Therefore, we constantly at risk for being to receive such pain from others because we are triggering them just by merely being around them or being in a relationship with them or being at peace, because people who are miserable carrying such traumas are often not okay, and therefore they are triggered by someone's peace, by someone's joy, by someone being okay in their own skin.
And I mean, what you're saying really does speak to what I was going to ask you in terms of, have we become a desensitized society? I mean, when you look at the comments on social media, it does appear that so many South Africans, particularly men, stand with the perpetrator and seemingly justifying his actions. Is it that we struggle with issues of challenging toxic masculinity, and also when we are stressing changing behavior to curb GBV and femicide? It is because of most people standing with the perpetrators or even trying to justify why certain things like murder exist in this country.
That saying that says, hurt people hurt other people.
Absolutely.
I always add to that saying, even if they were unfairly hurt, sometimes, are unaware, but at times they are aware of what they're doing. This implies that you sit with these perpetrators and you ask them, why do you do what you do? Just to get an understanding of where they're coming from. They'll tell you, Doc, when I was young, this happened to me, so I'm angry. So now this implies that an adult is now so far dissociated from emotions, they are consumed or possessed by this anger that they had as they're old, and it's showing up in their adulthood, and to a point where, unfortunately, someone like that has developed, a personality disorder. Even as a clinical psychologist, and am unlikely to be able to help them because the prognosis is so poor. Because remember, it's about bringing together, the self and the emotions and processing that trauma. But people who are in this state, violent and without any remorse, without conscious almost, it means really that ready to sit with any pain, to sit with the trauma they went through, and they feel as if it's their right to do what they're doing to other people. And I think, it speaks to what society is going through. I mean, psychotherapy, people do not come in, they think they need to be strong, they need to push through, or they self-medicate, or, they just continue in that rage. And unfortunately, rage or whatever emotions in the subconscious, if you're not processing that, you will project them souls, such as, what we see in this case, which is quite sad because sometimes you meet someone, you're not aware of what people carry, and even if you try and break up with this person because of where they're coming from and the traumas and their personality, they are unable to let you go. It's like if I can't have you, no one else can have you. And you know that the misery that is in them really only is what consumes them and possesses them and makes them act out this way. And of course, not excusing their behavior, because at the end of the day, they're choosing to be miserable. You know, they choose not to come see someone like me to process, you know, whatever pain that they've gone through, because at this stage, you know, they are choosing, you know, the behaviors that we see, such as gruesome killing.
Yeah, I mean, when we say that this kind of killing and ended there, because we're not trying to obviously say that this is not a complex matter, but here is a man who presented, very much in terms of the hallmarks of GBV and femicide, where if we have to listen to what the family is saying of the victim, that she broke off the engagement, but he continued to pursue her. He continued to abuse media when he was not happy with what she was saying to him. He then killed her, leaving her family traumatized and behind. He then took his. But it is the audacity, perhaps, here of him recording himself and then showing her lifeless body for everyone to see before he took his own life. Something that a lot of us are trying to deal with and trying to comprehend. Perhaps then, in this particular matter, talk to us about how the family is supposed to just to live with all of this mess that this disaster, in terms of just leaving them psychologically traumatized. Then, of course, there are children also involved here.
It's so sad that the victim's family will never be the same. The fact that they now witness this, or they are seeing this as it's on video, but also just now the audacity to have any remorse. Even if he's taken his life, it's almost like it's going to really need a lot of professional intervention for the family to process these emotions, so that because as I said, unprocessed emotions can actually consume you, where you end up act towards the perpetrator, towards other women, towards life. So we really need to make sure that they are supported in order for them to process and learn to live without this. And of course, their lives are changed forever. This is quite a traumatic incident, and it's really just a lot to comprehend. But also the perpetrator's family, you can imagine, also live without this incident and move forward from this situation without this person who's not there to account. So you can imagine also what society around them, is really gonna make them feel, as if they are responsible. And who can blame them also, because it's so traumatic. And also them going forward, their lives will never be the same. But of course, the victim's family, sure, and the child that's there to need professional ongoing help, so that they don't develop the pathology that we're seeing before us because of the anger we're experiencing now. But really, there is going to be a need for immediate intervention for the families to, contain emotions. But also, we need to talk about how the system is also failing. People who report such crimes, because people open cases, they go and report something missing, because nothing is usually done unless such an incident happens where someone has passed on. So it's really also a systemic problem, in that we really need to do better as a country in terms of our systems when it comes to reporting of uncomfortable situations such as this, especially when she broke it off. I wonder if she, reported it to the police. Did they do anything about it? Was there anything done and put in place to ensure that she is safe?
And it is because there's just so many questions to these incidents that leave us all so baffled and shocked. Dr. Mashego, thank you so much for your time and just trying to make us unpack and understand what transpired. Clinical psychologist Dr. Keitumetse Mashego there for us.